Nice. Mario?
Can you say that you played Super Mario on the first ukulele ever?
Yeah, no, I can.
Dude, this is crazy.
That is cool, yeah.
So Sean was saying, so this is what known as like it's what we know as as far as what we can confirm and what we can't confirm. Yeah, but basically this is acknowledged and considered the first ukulele, and nobody can say with definitive proof, but amongst the people who are familiar with the history, and this was actually on display at the what is it? It still has the sticker. So the Academy of Arts has the first ukulele. One of the telltale signs is it's has a koa neck. So they wouldn't have had koa in what is it?
Madeira?
Madeira. Yeah. So, but this is so cool. It is so Brazilian rosewood sides and back, and then looks like a spruce top there. Pretty cool thing is they have this little decorative thingy, which again, like doing this with hand tools.
Yeah, I thought.
And dude, so the thing is, like, I stress this a lot, and a lot of people might think, well, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I've done stuff by hand with chisels. And okay, so here's the thing though, people didn't have electricity, right? They didn't have flushing toilets. They didn't have refrigerate. Like, this is in a time when people lived slightly better and more sophisticated than cavemen. Like, they didn't have sewing machines. You sewed your clothes. You went to a tailor, right?
Yeah.
There was like so what boggles my mind is like, but they had so many like parallels with like our modern convenient lives at the time. But I mean, people, this is before like the average home had all of the things that makes our lives easy and convenient, and it's just like only rich families had like photos at the time, because like a photo was like shooting a movie now, and it's just crazy that like all of this detail, and it's consistent across, so this is relatively simpler than some of the other ukulele we've seen, but it's still got the rope binding, has a rosette, has the pinstripes all done out of wood here on the bottom. Crazy.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna call this Adam. Unless you're a very anti-religious person, then we'll call this Lucy, the first hominid.
Yeah, because at first that kind of threw me off. Right? I was asking Sean. I thought it was a Nunes because that was apparently his signature,
like a thing, right?
Yeah, but apparently not. There's a slight difference in design, and Santo, I don't know. Like, I'm holding this, and today has been a day about learning, about the three, the builders, right? And it's just fascinating story, right? And I think about, because Nunes is the one that
He's
made the longest, right?
The famous,
right?
One,
he was the
most well-known and longest running.
So you can say that he was the businessman.
Yeah.
Right? And then Sean was also telling us the hardest to find was Diaz. Because of what? All the fires.
Yeah.
Right? All of them were in Chinatown, right? All of them were in Chinatown. But one guy suffered how many fires? 2?
Twice, I think.
2, 3, right?
Yeah.
And just destroyed everything, right? That kind of sucks, right? And then at one point, Santo and Diaz were sharing shop.
They were homies.
They were homies, right?
Right.
That's what I'm picturing.
Yeah,
they were
people,
homies.
they don't know.
They were homies. Yeah, they're probably
boys,
talking about Nunes on the side. Like,
Nunes. He don't know.
Yeah, but again, Santo apparently was he had history, right, or something like that. He had his run of trouble, maybe, or something like that. But that didn't mean he didn't build beautiful instruments. You know what I mean? Like he definitely had a skill set, and this was definitely it. And my goodness, just the stories, of the three and how they possibly interacted with each other, helped each other out many times. I think I would like. You could kind of assume that, right?
Yeah.
Even you back when you still used to call like Chris, yeah? Was it Chris or Casey?
Never.
Never, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the Kamakas and that family has helped us out, and like I talked story with Joe from Kanilea, and it's funny because like yeah, we're obviously competition, but it's there's no contempt, there's no it's bring your best efforts and your best game forward, and there's no ill will. I mean, at times would there be a sense of rivalry? Yeah, sure, of course, but it's not like nothing bad, nothing negative, in a good way. And I mean, and anytime, if I can help them out with something, and then obviously, I will, because I think the mindset in Hawaii, and
Right.
it's funny, like, we talk about what's different and we talk about what's the same, and while these guys came from a different place, a different culture in Portugal, they came from an island, like another island in the ocean, and in a different ocean, but I think, not to say that this culture is exclusive to islanders, but I think generally small communities where family and community relationships are strong. You look at, not so much the big cities in say like on the west and the east coast, but as you get more towards like rural America, you see like that old school like 1950s America from like the movies where like you know your neighbors, you know the person at the general store, and I think a lot of that hasn't changed in areas outside of like very very modernized metro like gentrified areas, and yeah, I think they all definitely had close ties because
I would say pretty close.
Yeah.
Actually, I know that would be my guess, right? Because they were the outsiders,
maybe they were like
right? They were the ones that was. I mean, just like kind of like Japan, like the Japanese out here, right? We tend to click together, right? Because familiarity, everyone there were welcome and everything like that. But I figure it's the same thing, with these guys. Here they are, trying to make it. Coming from the sugar cane or the plantation, right?
Yeah.
And starting their business, and who are they, right? Yeah, like just three foreigners, in Hawaii, trying to make it.
Yeah.
So I would figure, I think they're a little bit more homies than we think.
I think so.
I don't know,
think so.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it would be nice to kind of think that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just
That one's the deluxe model though.
yeah,
That one's the mega. That's the. I mean,
like we don't want to do it.
whoever whoever it was at that point in history must have had some bucks.
Yeah, right. I wonder
They
how
were not
much.
this was not the plantation worker. This was the plantation owner purchased this instrument.
I wonder how much this would really. You figure, like we're so for as Koaloha, we're so blessed that people our instruments are expensive. You know what I mean, and people buy them, and I just wonder. I don't know, maybe Sean knows the answer. Like, how much did this sell for? I don't know. Like what would it be like?
Well, this was like 100 years ago, so at least $1.
Right, because back in the day, like I heard of Kamaka selling for like $10 or something like that, right? And like I don't know, right? So you would figure, right? This, with all of this,
I mean, to scale, I would say this is in the range of like a $7,000 to $10,000 modern custom. So again, like, what was $7,000 to $10,000 back then? Like $1.50? I don't know. Because that like. This is when a penny was like worth something.
Right.
A penny was like $1.
You would get change for a penny.
Yeah, like they had it was like
Yeah. So yeah, amazing, man. Like today has been quite a learning experience for myself, really.
Did you want to play Mario on this one?
Actually, I do want to touch it. I mean, this is my first ukulele.
I want to play Star Wars.
So this is what's argued is that it's a transition, right? It's either a machete or ukulele. It all depends on what was it tuned to when it was first made.
Yeah.
Right. That's what it all boils down to. And I'm just gonna say it was tuned to GCA.
No, that I can say with confidence.
Okay.
Yeah, because I just know. I said
so. There's really no more doubts anymore.
No,
this is actually
confirmed. The first ukulele, because Brian and Paul said. From
So rest assured, this is an ukulele.
Just stamp it, notarize it, all good.
All good. Good to go. Beautiful. harmonics. And all that.
Nuts, eh?
Yeah. Beautiful. This thing is cracks all over too, but restored and still sounds a banger. It's still a banger. Beautiful
You know
work.
You know what I thought this was at first? I thought
Pickguard?
Yeah, I thought it was like a super crazy pickguard until I realized, oh no, that's just
That's a dip.
yeah. It's been and that's the cool thing is like this
Has been
this
played.
has been played, and for me and for you, as builders, I think
That's what we want, right?
yeah. I don't want to just build something and it sits on a shelf and looks pretty and
I mean, if it means something to them, if it's hanging and displayed, then of course,
absolutely,
right? But
absolutely,
but yeah, you as instrument builders, we want people to build. I mean, to play our instruments, So very cool. Thank you. What an experience.
yeah. So pretty cool. We got to come here and check out these vintage ukulele.
Vintage, antique.
Antique.
Antique,
Yeah,
is it?
antique.
Is
I don't
it?
know. Vintage, antique. Say, I don't know. They're old. They're old ukulele. Very old. But I think I have the older one, right? Yeah.
By 10 years.
Yeah. So it's pretty. I don't know. It's small kind nerve wracking. Holding like literal holding history in your hands.
There's no
but
warranty.
There is no warranty because they gone and they don't care. But you know what? The first thing that caught me was for a time when they didn't have like all of our modern. We have routers, we have lasers, we have CNC machines now. We have, even like something as simple as a chisel, right? You can go, you buy one, and there's a big market for like antique and these antique hand tools now, and there's kind of like this movement for that. But the reality is you need to get a job done. I mean, we go out and we purchase a tool, right? We even wood, right? We go to not so much woods like koa and certain things that we use, but for the most part, you want to build a shed at your house. You go to the store, you buy wood, you build your shed. They have all the screws. They have So, what I guess the first thing that I noticed was with these these antique ukulele is the level of detail and the accuracy in the woodworking is really not much different from a modern build. And their tools is like sticks and stones, man. They're doing this in like Flintstone stuff.
Sharp sticks and sharp stones.
But it's crazy. It's incredible, and they're for the most part they're in tune. They're one thing I noticed was really cool is if you look yours too, they didn't make fret wire at the time, so these are actually little pieces of like thin gauge metal that they're using like a fret, so they jam it inside. But if you look, and then the tops are just round. I'm assuming by hand.
They're actually not consistent depth.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But it's like the frets are they didn't have frets at the time, right? So what do? You make your own frets out of metal. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it's crazy. Like rope binding. Rope binding is a pain in the butt to make with modern tools, and it's just crazy. And they sound.
Honestly, that's what I'm most impressed with. Coming here, I definitely had my own ideas of like a vintage ukulele, antique, just old ukulele, and my exposure to like vintage stuff has been mainly like the Martins and even the old Kamakas and stuff like that. I've never really experienced this. We're talking 1895, this one, right? And
Kola was 1995.
1995. 1890 is just, yeah, and this, the sound, just, I wasn't thinking precision. I wasn't thinking resonance.
Like you knew it would make a sound, right? Like like that's expecting like okay, it's cool. It's a ukulele,
and it sounds like an ukulele, and playability. It's just it's all there. It's all there, You know, and what I really noticed too in the construction, you know, is that kind of like how we approach our instruments too, right?
Hmm.
The body cavity, right? The less you have on the inside, the bigger
Yeah.
sound you'll produce, and just how do you make a small instrument resonate? You know, is definitely not by suffocating it, with all
Yeah.
kinds of things. And I'm looking on the inside, and first of all, you pick it up, and it's just so lightweight.
That's the thing. Yeah. So the thing that caught me right off the bat was like they're all light. They're all like none of them feel like even with like this one the neck is a little thicker, the head stock is a little thicker, right? But like and then the other thing is for the most part, I don't do this with like a piece of history, but they're like pretty well balanced, like and if you look at like almost right there in the middle, like it'll, you know, yeah.
Hmm. That's pretty cool, yeah. And yeah, just
Should try
the
placing.
customizing, like you never figure that they, it's all custom job. But yeah, I mean, you look at the stuff, like the stuff that's on here now, you can only order it, they're like through us, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not gonna come with it.
Yeah.
You can try order it.
Yeah.
Will you get it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But just again, with that said, with what you mentioned earlier, with no tools, I mean, look at. I almost didn't notice it because I'm just looking at the rope binding, but that pin strip, that
Yep.
that just
Yep. Yep. So what?
we got good old laser machine to do that for us right now.
So what's funny is like I think I thought about doing rope binding once, and then I got halfway through and I didn't because I prematurely just the amount of work for what I would charge or want to charge, and for what a person would be willing to pay for like rope binding.
Mhm.
It's one of those inequitable things, right? Like say we do like this crazy inlay, right, with all this shell and diamonds and whatever, right? People are willing to pay because it's like it's got that bling, but for rope binding, it's great, it's subtle, it's earthy, it's not a boom in your face thing like shell,
It
but
flows.
yeah, and it adds a lot, but it's so much work. So in addition, what a lot of people don't realize with these older items, be it an ukulele, be it a shelf, be it a house, be it whatever it is not only did they have to make all of their stuff because they didn't have luthier supplies at the time, right? So these guys are not only building their instruments, but they're also building. So in many cases, they're actually building their own specialized tools to make the stuff to make the ukulele. And then again, you look at the precision and like the joinery. It's not as clean as like a modern build. But
Sure,
we
yeah,
have, but you look at, I mean, generally things line up, and I mean, you can tell it's handcrafted, but still, when you look, the overall symmetry, the fit and finish is not very far from like a high quality modern instrument. And I think that's kind of one of the things that, no matter whether it's now 100 years in the future, 100 years in the past, I mean, quality will always be quality, and it's just funny to see that parallel of these were the guys that were known for producing high quality instruments at the time, right? And things caught on and people started selling what they're also calling the ukulele, but really it's cheap knockoffs, right? And it's funny because the exact same thing happens today, right? We have these high quality builders, right? Not just limited to here in Hawaii, but on the mainland, in Japan, in foreign countries. But a lot of our effort is undermined because people's, it's like literally a $10 toy, like piece of crap ukulele that you buy at like a souvenir store, and people's first experience with what an ukulele is oh, it's this $10 piece of crap. It's made out of plastic. It's out of tune. It sounds horrible. It's hard to
Right.
play, right? Like why is this even a thing? Like, is this
Right.
really an instrument, right? And it's just it's funny that these parallels, and while so much has changed, like it's kind of the same.
Yeah, kind of just
Yeah.
kind of like with that, right? So
Yeah.
much has changed, but still the same. I think Sean, I don't think it was these two pieces, but Sean showed us one earlier. I was looking at it, right, and it had the cracks. It's not like cracks from dropping and stuff, but it's cracks from the building process.
Yeah.
You know, and how they try to hide it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But not really hide it.
Yeah.
And also on the inside, when I noticed those liners too.
Oh, yeah.
All the cracks,
Yeah.
the precise location of the cracks, just how they dealt with heat.
Yeah.
The like soaking of the wood and just steam. How they dealt. We're dealing with the same problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not they dealt with the same problems.
Yeah.
But we're dealing with the same problems. And we sometimes let those same problems still circulate. Like we didn't see that crack right there. We're just gonna send it out. And I'm just but it was just kind of funny to see that and on a historical piece, and that I know the craftsmanship is all there, but also the the mistakes.
Yeah.
It was just kind of funny because we stress about those kind of things now. And figure out ways to kind of overcome it and stuff like that. And it's the same with these guys, and it's just amazing, quality. It's just, this is so lightweight, so tiny, also again, no fretboard, right? And it's just, it's an ukulele, again, totally different from what I imagined. And
it's like if you close your eyes, you wouldn't know this thing was built like 130, 40 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is totally an ukulele, a very well made, a very old, beautiful ukulele. I mean, even just the finishing, right? There was that one rosewood, the Brazilian rosewood piece that I actually thought it was refinished, right? But just the sheen on it, it's just over 100 years, and it's still protecting it. It's still there. I mean, it's still got cracks here and there, but look at it. I mean, my goodness, this is a beautiful handcrafted.
Did you just crack it?
I know. No. I did not. But yeah, beautiful pieces.
Oh, and the gut strings, these are a trip. Yeah. Different. Very. It's
I was actually
not what I was expecting.
Yeah.
They play and they sound it. I like the tension.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I don't know. They're neat. I don't think I've ever played like actual gut.
I don't think we talk about this enough either.
Oh, the pegs. Yeah.
They carved that out. Yeah, they.
Yep. Yeah. And they match the taper by.
Yeah.
I mean, basically they fit it. And if it doesn't fit, and if you make it too small, then you make another one.
They gotta make another ukulele that would fit that one peg. Yeah. That's pretty cool, man. What was the whole thing you were talking about too? They're like having a fretboard versus no fretboard, and what not using a fretboard limits you to.
Oh, so
I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I think what's pretty cool is, in addition to just like some of the parallels as far as like quality and I think even marketing, right? Because you look at why do more work and add more things that you cannot charge for the amount, in equal or an equitable amount of labor, additional labor, and you can't charge that, right? Like why do it? It's marketing, and it's the same thing, right? Where they didn't have the internet, but the economy was far more global or connected than a lot of people realize. It's just it wasn't, I think, on the consumer level, where like you can order something directly from China, directly from Japan now, right? And it's just it's literally like a click. It's on your it's in your pocket most of the time. You have access to the entire world, But they had the same marketing, right? Because let's say you have 3 to 5 guys making the same thing. Like what makes your thing different? Why should I buy yours, right? Mm-hmm. So part of marketing is business, right? It's a part of business, and it's why do more work when you don't have to. And it's kind of interesting when you look at like, so this one,
work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. So the Nunes has no fretboard, right, or fingerboard, whereas this one does. This is an older one, and this came from a time when I think they were building and following all of the tradition, or as much of it as possible, like 100%, right? That this is where we came from. This is how we build these instruments. And it comes to Hawaii, and they're like, hey, wait a minute. If nobody knows what this thing is, yeah, they don't know if should it have a fingerboard. They don't know that, right? And if it works, it works, But one of the things is, I think, what's interesting is, so my take on it is, you can do away with the fingerboard, but when you do away with the fingerboard, what happens is your scale length and the size of your body becomes very limited, because your scale length is set and it's stuck to the neck, right? Yeah. So your bridge has to go here. Your bridge has to go exactly here. So as far as like how you build the body, the proportions of it, where you want the bridge to set, in a sense, you're building everything around
the neck.
Yeah, and the body, everything you're bracing, so everything is already predetermined, right? So, while this was definitely save us some time from a manufacturing standpoint, I think they needed to keep pushing the envelope, right? And kept, well, crap, now there's like 2 more companies that are doing the same thing, right? So how do we make it different? Oh, why don't we make the body bigger, or let's increase the scale length, or what if we move the bridge so that it's not directly in the center, let's push it a little over the center. What does that do to the sound, right? So I think a lot of these things were driven by necessity and by natural dynamics of really, again, like nothing's really changed that much, like you look at bridge design, that one's got the pins, right?
Yeah.
So bridge pins, it's a very old traditional way of setting strings. This one has like a knotted tie bar, which is like we
used to do. Yeah.
We did, yeah, which we did, and now we have a semi-classical style tie bar, right? But it took us 20 years to arrive on a version of a bridge that we felt was aesthetic, served its purpose, sounded good, was easy for the end consumer, and was also something we could call our own,
So, man, so it's kind of like, so from this, how to become more efficient. We nix this, we change this.
And they're like,
and
crap,
then
let's bring it back.
Yeah, now we gotta make to offer more offerings.
Yeah, right.
More offerings, right?
Yep.
And you cannot do that without the fretboard.
Yep.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I never thought about that, and I always just thought, hey, that looks kind of weird. Where's the fretboard? He's lazy. Who's being lazy here? but it makes sense, like, because back in the day, less tools, less materials might have been an issue as well, and yeah, just you gotta roll with the times and just be as efficient as possible, and like what we were talking about earlier, right? Like, it's an art, but at the end of the day, it's also a business.
Yep.
Right? And just to see how the minds of the early builders like Santo, Diaz, Nunez, how with not only the instruments changed, but business changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's also another way to look at it, right? So
you gotta feed your family. You gotta feed your family, right?
Yeah, and, okay, yeah. That's why I work. So, yeah, very, very, very cool. Actually, we didn't hear this one yet. My goodness, man, look at it. It's just so decorated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the other piece that we saw, like, because, Sean pointed out that everything is custom.
Yeah.
When you think about it, right? It is, but what it was pretty cool to see is that people back then, 100 years ago, people still want to see their names on it.
And nothing's changed.
Right? That's pretty crazy, right?
Nothing's changed.
What was that one that said, what was the name on it? What was
Dell.
it? Dell.
Yeah.
Yeah?
That was obviously for Dell or the Dell family. Right?
She wanted to see her name on it. And it's the same thing that, with the musician, what we built for, right? They want to see their name on it, and it's just pretty cool. It's the same. Yeah. Yep. It's amazing.
I like the between the two. I think they're both great. I like the sound and the
I think so.
This thing is like it's magical.
Yeah.
You know, and between the two, it's simpler, it's smaller. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just this one is all cool though. That's pretty cool. You know.
It's a banger, man.
Yeah,
You just
but-
play it. You just yeah. This one sounds good, but this one,
Yeah.
the power. You just feel the vibration on
Yeah,
the body.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I feel it.
It sings, it responds. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one you gotta kind of. I mean, you can go louder and more responsive, but this one you gotta. It takes like that one, like feather touch it, like it respond like a finely tuned, you know,
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Precise.
Yeah.
You know, that's crazy. That's awesome. This has been an awesome experience.
Can you believe we're leaving with these two today?
I know, you know, like
I know,
thank
it's
you.
So generous.
Thank you, Sean,
I mean,
and
what,
Ukulele friend.
like, what do we do to?
You were too kind.
You know, we should at least bring him malasara and
Something.
the
We'll bring you
koi
something.
donut. Koi donut.